So number one, that's one that could have shown up on your quiz. That one should be pretty straightforward, where it's all the equations we had already worked on, where I would start by undoing everything happening to the x, starting with undoing the subtraction, so minus 12 from both sides. 12 minus 12 goes away. I have 8x still, and 20 minus 12 gets me to 8. Then 8 times x, or 8x means 8 times x, so I can divide by 8 to get x by itself, where x equals 1. Okay, so that's essentially what you just quizzed on, something we've already done. And what's new today is really the addition of us having variables on both sides of the equation. The solving process does not change. Okay, so what we're going to try to accomplish now that there's variables on both sides is we need to get x's to one side and then numbers on the other side. Okay, and we're still undoing everything that's happening. So it's the exact same process. It's just that we've got to work with both sides and get the x's on one side together. So when we have x's on, or just variables on both sides, just to keep it consistent, let's just always work to get the variables to the left-hand side. So if I've got 6x on the right, I can undo that by minusing 6x. And that makes us 2x, and then plus 12. The x's on the right go away, and now it equals 20. And as soon as we get the x's on the left side, well, now it's just like what we've already been working on. Okay, so basically the same as the first question, where I can subtract 12 again. I still get that 8 on the right-hand side. And now the only difference is I have 2x is equal to the 8. And so to undo multiplying by 2, I need to divide by 2. Dividing by 2 gets us our answer to be x equals 4. All right. Any questions there? 2x equals 8, and then I divided both sides by 2. Up here, 2x plus 12 equals 20. Okay. In the slide below it, I'm going to skip that because the getting equation equal to 0, we're not doing that. Instead, we're just going to work to get variables to the left-hand side, and then ideally the numbers to the right-hand side. Okay, well, let's do, there's going to be some that are a little more complicated than others. We still want to consider the number of solutions we might get. Okay, and the other thing that's really important is we still want to simplify both sides to start. So if there's any opportunity to distribute and any like terms that show up on one side of the equal sign, we want to combine those rather than just move them. Okay, so simplify first. That's still going to be a priority, something we were doing before as well. Okay. Well, let's look at number 3. Number 3 is a typo. Let's make this an absolute value of x. Okay, we need the terms to be the same. Otherwise, the solving is much more complex. And so to start, I'm going to check, is there anything to combine? On the left-hand side, I can't combine the absolute values of x with 5. And on the right-hand side, I can't combine the 1 with the absolute values of x either. So now, I'm going to work to get the variable over to the left side, where if it's minus 4 absolute values of x, I'm going to add 4 absolute values of x. So that gets rid of the absolute values of x on the right-hand side. Then negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2 absolute values of x plus 5, and it equals 1. And now this equation is the exact same for what we've already been solving. So I can subtract 5. Where I get negative 2 absolute value of x equals negative 4. I want to get the absolute value of x all by itself, so I'm next going to divide by negative 2. And I get that the absolute value of x is equal to 1 second. And then I've seen this a lot with when you all are working, a lot of you will stop right here and you say, oh, the absolute value of x equals plus or minus 2. Well, we're always solving for just regular x, okay, and not the absolute value of x. This is part of our solving process, but now us essentially undoing the absolute value is us stating that x needs to be plus or minus 2. So it's almost like a whole nother step. Okay, so if you've just been getting to that absolute value and then just saying that absolute value is plus or minus 2, okay, you're kind of missing a whole step there. Okay, so we are always working to just get regular x by itself. Okay, why don't you all try number 4, and then we'll find a